ready to groove on a Sunday afternoon in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. Final day, free dance at the MasterCard Skate Canada International. Welcome inside Mile 1 Stadium with Tracy Wilson. This is Rod Black. And this is Chantal Lefebvre and Arseny Markov. 7th after the original dance, ready for their free dance. Still to skate, Marie-France Debray and Patrice Lauzon.
With a good skate here, they can move themselves up in the standing. They made a major error in the original dance, but they can climb back up here. The last 2 years, they finished 3rd in Canada. This is a program choreographed by Shaylin Bourne and Nikolai Morozov, and it's designed to show their athleticism and their power.
Rather appropriate that this team should lead off our show today. Like many of the other dance teams you'll see, 2 skaters from different countries. The passport offices have been busy as they try to gain residency and citizenship. This team can now compete internationally, but not at the Olympic Games.
They're slowing down a little bit at the end of their performance. They need to keep their power up. Music's getting away from them slightly.
Chantal Lefebvre and Arseny Markov, the Russian, the Canadian, skating for Canada. at Skate Canada. From left to right, Nikolai Morozov, Shaylin Bourne, who used to compete against Chantal Lefebvre, and then, of course, Arseny Markov. What'd you think?
Well, they started out on fire, as their costumes indicated they might. But as the program wound on, they started to wind down a little bit. Their strength, their athleticism, they're a dynamic couple. And their presence fills the arena. But they started to get tripped up a little bit in the choreography and some of the intricate footwork at the end of the program. And that's where we saw some of their weaknesses, a little bit ragged. They were skating far apart and then sort of banging in to each other a little bit, and that shows poor technique. It means they were out of position a little bit at the end.
Just to finish the story about Markov, the Russian Federation had to release Markov. He then gained residency in Canada, which allows him to compete internationally. You have to become a citizen of the country in order to compete at the Olympics.
And
however,
that may happen. They're still crossing their fingers and hoping that they might have a chance to earn a spot on the Olympic team at Nationals.
And there are the marks, and those are the marks we'll watch for the rest of the skaters. And here is how everything stood after the original dance, and look at how close it is atop the standings between the Ukrainian team, Grushina and Goncharov, the world bronze medalists, and Debroy-Lazan from Canada, who finished 7th. This could be a very big afternoon for the Canadian champions if they could knock off the Ukrainians.
Marie-France and Patrice have looked very good in competition here. They finished first in the compulsory dance. In the original dance, one of their spins was downgraded. It normally has a higher degree of difficulty, and it was that spin that actually made the difference. Had they successfully completed it, they'd be sitting in first place. Nonetheless, their goal is to try and climb onto the podium at the Olympic Games, and the Ukrainian team are the current world bronze medalists. So they're right in the thick of things. They're in the hunt.
This is a team that has done a lot of changing through the years, kind of inventing themselves and reinventing themselves. They made some more changes this year.
Well, Marie-France and Patrice have brought on choreographer David Wilson, and it was his first time choreographing a free dance. Of course, he's done work for Jeffrey Buttle and Cynthia Phaneuf and Joannie Rochette, and boy, was he ever successful on his first time round. Kind of scary to see how good he can get over the next few years. They have a beautiful program that I think is very well suited to their talents and strengths.
So we have 5 teams to skate in this final flight for the free dance, and right off the bat, really, we're going to decide who's going to win the gold medal here. The first 2 teams to skate, this team from Ukraine, and then the Canadians. So the drama for gold in the first 2 dance teams, Elena Grushina and Ruslan Goncharov, really in a virtual tie with Debroy-Lazan heading into the free dance.
And this is a much improved team. Elena and Ruslan now train with Shaylin Bourne and Nikolai Morozov, and over the last couple of years, Nikolai, I think, has really been able to smooth out their technique. Technically, they are very strong skaters, and he's really brought it out in them. They will skate to Peter Gabriel's "The Feeling Begins." They're struggling a little bit on the twizzle sections of this free dance. They're being graded. Those are elements of the free dance. Very important that they're clean or they can lose marks, as Dubray and Lauzon did in the original dance. What makes this team technically good is the way they use their knees. If you watch Elena, she gets down into her knees, and there's a big mistake there.
Boy. Marie-France Dubray, Patrice Lauzon now have an opening, and they just saw it. I watched them see that mishap. They now must go clean. And a few years ago in dance, you could fall and gone on and on about it and still not get penalized. Not so under these new rules.
Mistakes are very costly in ice dance. Mandatory deductions for that. A mandatory deduction for that major error.
The Canadian champions will skate next. Boy, a big error for this team. We'll see how costly it becomes.
Well, there were some minor problems. Not at the beginning, though. Great start to the program. You can see this athletic lift, a high degree of difficulty, and I also like the way it was timed to the music. A lot of times now in ice dance with the elements, they just don't go to the music. Now watch where it started to come undone. See the twizzle? The next one they're about to go in, watch the free leg, the leg in the air, she touches down. Now that in itself is quite a deduction because that is an element of the dance. But this was undeniable. This was on the footwork sequence, the serpentine footwork. Let's take a look at what happens here. Skating close together, deep edges, and they just got caught in each other's feet. And what's happening, these skaters technically are pushing themselves with a higher degree of difficulty with intricate footwork, and we're bound to see many more mistakes in ice dance, many more errors. You can't play it safe anymore.
It's early in the season, too. A lot of these programs are still being refined and worked out.
And that's an excellent point, Rod. It takes months to perfect some of these difficult routines. I used to always say if you're ready to go perfectly at Skate Canada, perhaps the program was too easy.
Ruslan is not happy. Deductions of 4. 170.50. Watch that number now, because the Canadian champions have a shot at their first ever Grand Prix title. And the Ukrainians have helped them out here.
Ladies and gentlemen, representing Canada, Marie-France Dubray and Patrice Lauzon.
3 times Canadian champions. 7th at the World Championships last season. Their best ever showing at the Worlds. This could be their last Olympics coming up here. Chance to go there. And what confidence it could be if they can knock off the number 3 ranked team in the world.
As I said at the top of the show, they have their sights set on the podium. They too have a very difficult free dance planned to music from the soundtrack, Somewhere in Time.
is one thing to unveil a free dance. It is quite another to evoke emotion in a crowd and to lay it down and deliver it early in a season. And Marie-France Dubreuil and Patrice Lauzon did all that.
They had a little bit of everything in this program, which I think is the perfect vehicle for them in this Olympic season. Beautiful skating. It plays to their strengths, their soft, lyrical style, the relationship between the two of them. They held back a little bit in this performance. It was tentative in places, like on that Twizzle section. But I thought the overall performance level at this time of the season bodes well for them for what's to come down the road.
And again, there's still 3 teams to skate, but it's virtually over after the first 2 for the gold. And Marie-France Dubreuil and Patrice Lauzon will become the first Canadian dance team since Shailene Bourne and Victor Kratz to win gold, unless someone else can come up.
And high marks, 92.4 for their free dance, and they're putting themselves in the thick of things. The best done this year was 95 at Skate America by the world silver medalist. They've just overtaken the world bronze medalist. Things are looking really great for these two.
4 months away from the Winter Games. And what a start to the season for the Canadian champions. Way ahead of the Ukrainian team. And 3 teams to skate. And a long way back. Kristen Fraser, Igor Lukanin from Azerbaijan. 4th place after the original dance. Again, a team formed of an American and Lukanin from Azerbaijan, skating for that country. They were 13th at the World Championships.
This is a team trained by Sasha Zulin, who is a world champion in ice dance in 1993. And they will skate to Blues for Kluk, and some of Zulin's choreography is very cool. There are elements, as I mentioned, in the free dance that are being judged. The skaters must include 4 lifts, 2 different footwork sequences, and then they can either do 2 twizzle sections in 1 spin or 2 spins, 1 twizzle section. They've brought 2 elements over last year in the ice dance competition, just to give the skaters a little more time to include some dance steps between all the elements. Where the dancers start to slow down are usually where they're doing the footwork sequences. They're doing their circular sequence. They just finished it there. The dancers slow down to get the more difficult footwork in, to get a higher degree of difficulty.
Kristen Fraser and Igor Lukanin representing Azerbaijan. She, of course, from the United States. Battle on for bronze right now. Two teams to skate. We already know who's won gold. There they are. American team is up next. Nice to be coached by a legend in ice dance, huh?
Oh, and he's a terrific choreographer. He works with single skaters as well as ice dancers. They had some nice highlights in that program, but they have to weave the highlights into the rest of the choreography and also just soften up their skating style a little bit so it flows better with the blues tempo.
There's Sasha Zulin with the team from Azerbaijan, and currently they are in third place, and they will watch and wait. Two teams to come to see if they can get a medal. They are on the bubble.
Ladies and gentlemen, representing the United States, Melissa Gregory and Dennis Patukov.
Team representing the United States. We talked at the beginning of the show about the hybrid teams representing two nations. Dennis Patukov and Melissa Gregory. Dennis is from Russia. They will skate for the United States, though.
Music, of course, Romeo and Juliet. Melissa and Dennis are in their 5th year together as a team on the ice and have been married for 4 years. But I've noticed a dramatic improvement in their skating, and you are also seeing it here in this competition. Over the last season, they're smoother. Terrific polish in this program at this time of the season. It's a couple trained by Shaylin and Nikolai. really did a good job of successfully including some of the elements into their dance. And we'll find out what the judges thought of that performance when we come back.
In a skating world that sometimes has no borders anymore, it's interesting to note that the two top-ranked U.S. teams are only 50% homegrown. This team and the other team, of course, Tanith Belbin and Benjamin Augusto, one of the higher-ranked teams in the world, still awaiting possible citizenship for Tanith, who's Canadian. They might be able to squeeze into the Olympic Games.
It looks like things are being done to make sure that that happens for Tanith and Ben, as they should be. Second-ranked team in the world. For this team, Melissa and Dennis, chances are they will earn a spot on the U.S. team, too. They're the #2 team after Tanith and Ben. And as I said, much improved. They did a great job with that program.
Their technical score is 14.
They began the day in 3rd place. They'd like to stay there by the end of the day. The top 2 spots are sealed, and it looks like they will. One team to skate, but they might be too far back to catch these two.
But Gregory and Batukov finished 2nd so far in the free dance, so they too have overtaken the world bronze medalists in just the free dance portion. That would never have happened a few years back in the old system.
Ukrainian team, of course, with their deductions hurting them in a big way, and so it's still Debray Luzon, Krushina Goncharov, now Gregory and Petukov, and the final team. Elena Romanowskaya, Alexander Grachev, 5th after the original dance. They were 4th at the Russian Nationals. It's been an adventurous week for this team. During one of the practices, she was knocked into the boards and ended up in hospital. Cut her leg, but she's okay and ready to skate.
That's ranked 4th in Russia, and these competitions are so important for teams like this who are trying to move up and make the Olympic team. 3 teams can go. A good showing here can help them out a lot. She's very good. She rarely gets out of position, carries herself very well. You really have a sense that she's capturing the character of the dance. see they're getting caught up here in the footwork. A lot of the skaters are going for the high degree of difficulty at the expense of the quality of the dance. I think there's got to be a happy medium somewhere, but perhaps they'll arrive to that place by the end of the season.
Our final dance team on an afternoon owned by the Canadian champions. Elena Romanovskaya, Alexander Grachev. I'd say they made pretty good recovery after their accident earlier in the week.
And it was a nasty fall into the board, but they didn't miss a step. A nice couple. They've been together for 10 years, since they were 12 years of age. I like their expression on the ice. I thought it was very fun to watch. The concern with this program is the Gypsy Kings were really picking up the pace at the end of the program. They did a lift like this, a slow, long, edgy lift. It had no business going to that part of the music. And I think that's the trick in the free dances now. It's winding in the elements, including them with the program, and keeping them on time to the music. If you can do that, you can do well. And that's what Dubreuil and Lauzon were able to do in their free dance.
Gotta have a good choreographer, don't you, these days? And this team will finish the day where they began, in 5th place. The story of the day, and I would say maybe the story of the week here, happens on the final day. Marie-France Dubreuil and Patrice Lauzon doing something they've never done before, ascending to the top step at a Grand Prix podium, winning the gold medal at Skate Canada.
And it's not just that they won the gold medal, it's how they did it. You look at that program, and it's got Olympics written all over it, and how nice for them that they can take a vehicle like that through the Olympic season. They're going to have some pretty incredible memories.
Nice to see that team. You know, sometimes it's not about medals, it's about personal bests, and that last team you saw, very excited with their 5th place showing. Dubreuil and Lauzon, though, would not be happy with 5th this year, a team that is really on the rise. They knock off the number 3 ranked team in the world, Grishina and Goncharov, and for the first time ever, they win the Skate Canada gold. Here's Vic Rauter with Marie-France Dubreuil and Patrice Lauzon.
Tracy suggests that program is as good as any program you've put together in your 10 years because it just complements everything you do.
I think she's right. When we first started building this program, we felt right away that it might be our masterpiece. And every time we perform it, it gets better and better, and the emotion builds during the program. And it's not a program we perform, it's a program that we just live, you know, living.
And that's the thing, too. I mean, there's a chemistry, but you have to get that chemistry across, and maybe this program does that.
Oh, yeah, it does that. This program is all about us. We use the team from somewhere in times to bring onto the ice, but on the ice, it's us, it's our story, it's our life, and we give everything to the people, and that's it.
The Can Skater of the Year is a medal program that BMO Financial Group has put in place for all our clubs at Skate Canada. They all have to be are registered in our Can Skate program. They are 8 years of age or under. And the award recognizes talented skaters who show passion for skating. This year's recipient is a young girl from Manitoba. Her name is Matina Lisi, and she's just a little dynamo. She came to our annual general meeting where she received her award from the BMO representative. It's very important to have recognition for our skaters in our various programs. Can Skate's the most important program from the perspective of drawing people into our sport and seeing what are the possibilities. And also it's a place where we teach skaters to skate for the purpose of going on to other sports as well.
Nothing like those can skaters. They all start that way. Inspirations on ice, indeed. Talking about inspiration, how about the Canadian champions?
Well, a stunning performance for Dubray and Lozon. It's been interesting to quickly take a look at the marks. They got about 92.5 points on that, but interestingly, they had a 2-point deduction, and we're still waiting to find out what that's for. I'm speculating a couple of their lifts went over the allowable time, which is a very easy change. But those extra 2 points puts them in with the world silver medalists in what's best being done this year. They're exactly where they want to be and being on track for the podium for the Olympic Games. They've still got a competition to look forward to in Japan. A great skate there will put them in the Grand Prix final.
Well, their best ever start to a season for sure, and their best ever finish at a Grand Prix event. The gold medal for Marie-France Dubray, Patrice Lozon will wrap up the week in St. John's next. It is an amazing race here, and we like to thank the great people of St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. They have a saying around here when they want to say something's excellent or good, they say best kind. And you know what? This week was the best kind on the rock. The rock was rocked this week, although some rocked it a little too much. The kiss and cry became the kiss, the weep, and sometimes the sleep. No one was bored, however. Instead, Carolina Costner went overboard. Emmanuel Sandou went backboard, hitting his back and then coming back, just like last year. Emmanuel making a huge jump, leaping all the way to first. Now, if Mr. Comeback can go back-to-back. Jeff Buttle did something he normally doesn't do. He lost his touch this week. He almost lost his pants, but did not lose his sense of humor. Hey Canada, how about Hey Langlois? New pairs team made a nice debut and should be inspired by the German duo of Shevchenko-Sokolov, who've only been together a short time but already world contenders. 2 weeks ago, very few knew this lady or these skates, the hinge skates of Alyssa Sisney. Last week finishing second at Skate America, first at Skate Canada this week. But the best performance is always the most moving. Young Japanese skaters, old Japanese skaters, and how about the Canadian champions who won today?